In 1982, in his book, Critical Path, a gentleman by the name of Buckminster Fuller introduced his concept of the double knowledge curve. He estimated the amount of time that it took for accumulated and transmitted knowledge in the world to double. By his estimation, the first doubling took approximately 1,500 years. He then estimated that the second doubling occurred only 250 years later in the year 1750, and that the third doubling happened in the year 1900. It was clear that knowledge in the world was doubling at an accelerated rate. At the end of World War II, or approximately 1945, he estimated that knowledge was doubling every 25 years. At the beginning of the 21st century, it was estimated that knowledge was doubling every 13 to 19 months. And now, with the help of the internet, if it isn't already, knowledge will soon be doubling every 12 hours. This is startling to think about, but the fact is, knowledge is increasing at an overwhelming rate. The internet provides us the ability to run interconnected devices, such as smartphones, tablets, vehicles, and equipment. Another reason for this knowledge explosion is big data, our ability to analyze and process information, which is helpful in decision making. Our ability to transmit and process data through a growing interconnectedness is going to provide opportunities for new knowledge to be discovered, widely transmitted, and analyzed. Technology is changing our lives in every aspect, increasing the way that we transmit and process data and information. And to keep up with this deluge of information is going to require new forms of technology and software. And this is going to reconstruct some industries entirely. My name is Kimberly Blair. I am the Services and Development Technician in the Bureau of Operations at District 7 in Effingham. Today, the members of my group and myself are going to talk to you about the advancements being made in connected and automated technology, and how IDOT can implement that technology to increase efficiency and safety. Automated and connected technological advancements are changing throughout the industry at a rapid rate. Our goal is to inform you of some of those advancements and present ideas of how IDOT could implement that technology to increase our efficiency in our operations, increase safety for our employees, and enable IDOT to offer a superior level of service for the motoring public. Susan Davis is going to talk to you today about global positioning and automated vehicle location technology. She is going to talk to you about a program that IDOT is in the process of implementing and possible ways that that technology could be expanded on for future use. During his portion of the presentation, Joshua Butterfield is going to focus on ways that this technology could be utilized to increase efficiency and safety during snowplow operations in hazardous weather conditions. Dave Vereen is going to talk to you about the advancements being made in the industry in the area of autonomous trailer-mounted attenuators, and how this technology, if utilized by IDOT, could increase safety for our employees during various maintenance operations. The conclusion of our presentation is going to be given by Scott Wilhelm. And during his conclusion, he is going to highlight some of the realities of the conditions that some of our employees face every day as they complete their work assignments. autonomous and connected technology as it relates to vehicles and equipment isn't something that should be thought about in a distant future of tomorrow. It is a conversation that we should be having today because the technology is now. On October 25th, 2018, Governor Rauner signed an executive order establishing the Autonomous Illinois Initiative. And the initiative states that IDOT is to review connected and automated vehicle research, pilot programs, as well as actions that are being taken at the state, national, and international level. They are to identify best practices for testing, law enforcement collaboration, privacy issues, and infrastructure needs. IDOT is also instructed to evaluate current laws and regulations that may impede safe, connected, and automated vehicle and related infrastructure testing, deployment, and operation. Per the guidelines of the order, IDOT is also to administer the Autonomous Illinois Testing Program. This establishes a partnership between the state and entities that are developing CAV technology and related infrastructure technology. This program will enable testing of connected and automated vehicles on Illinois roads and highways. The department is instructed to collect data and up-to-date information on the development of CAV technology in Illinois so that the department can promote sound public policy that will benefit both the state and the public. According to the Autonomous Illinois website, there are 6 levels of autonomy that have been adopted by the U.S. Department of Transportation, Highway National Traffic Safety Administration. And currently, 4 of those levels of autonomy are legal in Illinois. All of them require a driver to be behind the wheel of the vehicle and ready to take control of that vehicle at any time. However, they do allow some intelligent driver system features to be utilized. This is a screenshot of the Autonomous Illinois website. And on the website, it states a few of the goals that Illinois has that they want to reach in the next 5 to 10 years concerning autonomous and connected vehicle technology. One of the things that they hope to accomplish is to have autonomous vehicles traveling fluently on Illinois roads and highways next to non-autonomous vehicles. Another goal is that the state will have put in place a world-class connected and autonomous ecosystem. And finally, that the state will operate and deliver services effectively and efficiently using CAV technology. So who better to be having a conversation about connected and autonomous vehicle and construction equipment technology than the very agency that the governor instructed to lead his initiative. During Susan, Josh, and Dave's portion of the presentation, you are going to learn that other DOTs throughout the nation are already implementing various forms of connected and automated technology, such as Wyoming, Florida, Alaska, and Minnesota. The utilization of the GPS and AVL technology that Susan is going to speak to you about momentarily, if used by the agency, could help us monitor things that we use every day, such as commodities like salt, diesel, and spray chemicals. And then this information could possibly be used to help us reduce our environmental footprint that we leave on our right-of-ways. which then in turn would enable us to support other programs and partnerships that we have entered into, such as the monarch butterfly and the pollinator habitat program. The implementation of the technology that Josh and Dave have researched, if implemented by IDOT, could increase safety and hopefully help us reach our goal of making zero fatalities a reality in Illinois. The five of us will not talk to you or present all of the potential uses of connected and automated technology, nor will we discuss the many applications that could be utilized by IDOT. However, what we do have today is the privilege of speaking in front of some of the elite personnel within the agency. You are the thinkers, the brainstormers, and the go-getters of IDOT. Our goal is to plant seeds of knowledge that you can take with you, hopefully educate you on a few of the advancements that are being made in this industry, and present to you just a few of the ideas we have come up with about how this technology could be utilized. But our main goal is to promote conversations that you will have on your own and generate ideas of innovation so that together we can do some out-of-the-box thinking and we can fulfill IDOT's mission statement and work within the guiding principles of the agency and hopefully fulfill the vision of Illinois once again being one of the most innovative DOTs in the nation. And now I'd like to turn this part of our presentation over to Susan Davis.
Good morning. My name is Susan Davis, and I'm with the Service Development Technician, District 4. Today, my topic I'm going to be discussing this morning is GPS AVL telemetry. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. AVL stands for Automated Vehicle Location. GPS is a satellite-based radio navigation system. The radio navigation system that District 4 uses is called StarCom 21. AVL is a device that uses the GPS system to allow us to remotely locate our fleet. The GPS AVL system allows the department to monitor actual routes taken by drivers, provides us plow status, spreader rate, and gives us the ability to generate reports. Currently, we have the GPS AVL installations completed in 3 districts. District 5 was the first district to receive the GPS AVL installation. They currently have 154. District 4 and District 7, we installed the GPS AVL this year. We currently have 156 in all of our source trucks. The screen behind me shows you how the data is transmitted and communicated. The telemetry data is sent from the spreader controller or from the Samsung tablet and communicates with the LMU. The Samsung tablet submits roll codes, weather conditions, and incident reports. The spreader controller submits data such as plow status and spreader rate. Once that's submitted, the LMU then transfers the data to the Compass LDE. LDE stands for Location Data Engine, which is located within our StarCom 21 network. Then it's submitted to our Compass Track Viewer, which allows us to send that information over to the LDE server, which goes out so we're able to see see what's submitted through a Compass Track Viewer site. So once IDOT trucks send a roll call or incident report, or the spreader controller sends a plow status, the service enables the visibility into the Compass Track Viewer. So to make this a little more simpler, what happens is it's sent from the SNOPS tablet onto the LMU, which transmits all that data through our mobile radio system, which is StarCom 21. Then it goes to the Compass LDE server, out to the Compass Track dashboard. This is an example, this image is an example of what you will see in the Compass Track view. The blue represents that the ignition is on, the red represents the ignition is off. Currently, the individuals that have access to this Compass Track server is our operations engineer, our service and development tech, and our communication system, which can view the whole district. The IDOT operations supervisors and their lead workers are also able to access this site, but they can only see the yards that they maintain. If you click on one of the devices, it gives you additional information. It gives you the information of the truck number, the alias, the speed, the plow status, and also the spreader range. New features that have been added to this Compass Track server is Google Street View and replay. You can run it for 8 hours or 12 hours. The image on the right, if you look here, these are breadcrumbs in red. The blue is where you start off. So the OS can set a parameter if he wants to run a replay of where the truck has been during a certain time frame. This is the tablet image. The tablet image represents roll calls, weather conditions, and the incident reports. Roll call number 1 is all clear. Roll call number 6 is at the worst, is the road is completely covered. Then they can submit if it's snowing or freezing or raining outside. And then the button to the right on the little red button here, the incident report, they can push to say if there's an incident report, can kind of give the location. This is a detailed explanation of what is submitted. It gives us an event log, so it tells you the truck number, what time that roll call or weather condition or incident was reported, and the actual location on the map of when they sent that roll call. The benefits of utilizing GPS AVL technology is a cost-saving factor, streamlines the processes, and it can increase safety. In the cost saving, it increases efficiencies, reduce fuel consumption, and maintenance expenses. How can it do that? Well, let's use the spreader rate as an example. Currently, District 4 pays about $54 a ton for salt. So on this Compass Track viewer, the OS or the lead worker, they can look and see on this Compass Track viewer if a driver is spreading the salt too heavy. If that's so, he can go to call into his driver, let him know the average rate that he's spreading his salt, and tell him to decrease it or increase it. Also, idle time. We know that idle time increases fuel consumption. So this possibly can drop by 8 to 12% because this system allows us to monitor our driver's idle time. Improvement in idle time and miles driven can drop between 10 and 40% together. So fuel efficiency for our driver, also, which I'll talk about on safety, the next couple slides when I talk about safety, is if we can get our drivers to reduce their speed at an average of about 5 miles per hour, this can help reduce a cost saving from 7 to 8%. Streamlining operations. The OS of the lead worker, they're able to run reports on a daily, monthly, weekly basis, however often they would like to run it. Being able to streamline the operation will allow us to reduce improper use of our equipment, our materials, and the department's time. The screen behind me shows an example of all the reports that can be generated. We can run a mileage report, speed report, stop idle report, activity report, inputs report, inactive report, snow ops report, snow materials grading report. I'm not going to talk about them all, but I do have some examples of some of the reports that could be generated. This is an example of a mileage report. A mileage report reports the total miles given per day, or we can run it by yard, or you can just run it by a certain device to give you a totality of the miles. You can also run a speed report. When the speed report first comes up, you can set the parameters. You can say, okay, how many of my trucks from my yard have been running 45 miles per hour or more? It will give you a count at first. This particular one I ran on this day said it was 17 trucks running 45 miles or more on that day. So then I did a detailed view of it. So it tells me each truck that was running 45 miles or more on that particular day. So then you can compare it to the posted speed limit, because then you can go out to the Google map to see if the speed limit was 45, was he going the actual speed that he was supposed to be going, or was he going over the miles that he was supposed to go? Then you can run a snow materials grading report. I ran this report for the day of November 25th, the day that we had our blizzard-like storm for one of our yards, which is our Morton yard. This gives me how many pounds per mile that was for the salt, which was 362.91 pounds per mile. How much tonnage we ran for that day was 198.19 tons of salt during that duration period. I ran it from 7 to 3 o'clock. And then it'll give me an actual total as of that day, which was that November 25th day, that we have ran we have placed 3,535.3 tons of salt from day one when we started our snow to that snow event of November 25th. So when we talk about safety, during inquiry against the posted speed limit, so this will help the department to which drivers constantly exhibit unsafe driving conditions. And you can try to address this behavior. One of the concerns that a lot of people are asking is about battery draining from the tablet. Well, this system is designed to go into sleep mode after 10 minutes after the ignition is shut off. So this will help preserve the battery. Future capabilities that we would like to see is the access cameras, and we do have some in the 3 districts. We have 2 cameras in each district that we're testing now. The camera gives us real-time image and road conditions and incidents. The PDF files on the tablet, so all the information that all the drivers need to have in their trucks, we're trying to implement that to have all that information in a PDF file on that tablet. GIS mowing map and weather maps. This will allow any of the highway maintainers to know the accurate location of what areas they need to mow. And then the other one is kind of like an alert system. When to send road codes every 2 hours. They have to be submitted to the central office every hour. So this will give the driver an alert to say, it's time for you to send your road code again. The advantages of using the system is that it allows the department to quickly and effectively locate, manage, and coordinate our fleet. So, to recap, why GPS and ABL is important to the department, because it can possibly reduce fuel consumption, travel time, idle time, reduce our drivers from speeding, and decrease in overtime. The GPS ABS system aligns with IDOT mission statement, is to provide cost-effective, safe transportation to the traveling public. Our next presenter will be Josh Butterfield.
Good morning, I'm Joshua Butterfield from District 2, an operations supervisor. And just a little bit about my history with IDOT. I've been with IDOT for around 19 years now. And the first part of my career, I was in the survey crew for 8 or 9 years, and the latter part of my career has been with operations. So with what I'm going to be talking about with snowplow technology, I'm kind of taking the first part of my career with the information and technology we had, kind of combining that, meshing it with the latter part of my career. See if we can make this work. So all the pictures today that I'll be showing, the still photos, are all pictures from District 2. So they've actually been taken by myself or by fellow employees in our district during storms. And so it just kind of gives you an idea just in our district what things are going to look like. But here's a picture of basically a whiteout storm. I mean, how many of us by show of hands have driven in a whiteout storm? Whether it's been for a minute, 10 minutes. Now, by the raise of hands still, keeping your hands up, how many have driven in a storm for 21 and a half hours straight? So with that said, not very many people, but our maintainers out of District 2, they have the capability to work for 21 and a half hours straight through a storm in a given situation. Now, what happens when they work for 21 hours straight? Fatigue sets in. Well, when fatigue sets in, you have, bad decision making, accidents happen. Well, there's a way that we can get around this, and we'll be talking about that here in a little bit. So after this whiteout storm, usually our storms, before we get cleaning up, it'll look something like this, where we have the vehicle stranded. If it's a bad storm, a lot of drifting. And so how can we take care of this in a safe manner? Well, right now, after we take care of this type of storm, our roadways would look like this. And as you can see with another truck coming by, on this particular route, we have drifts that were probably 8 to 10 foot tall. And usually we do this type of cleanup, during the day, because at night we just don't have the capabilities to see where we're at or what's in front of us. Now, how do we clean this storm? Our first line of defense is this 1979 Snow Go snowblower. And yes, this is still in service, still in operation. We just had this out 3 weeks ago for our last storm. So this actual piece of equipment here is a 2-man operation. So as you can see in the picture, it'd be a 2-man operation, a driver, and an operator of the vehicle here. So this is our first line of defense for any type of storm that's considered a blizzard type storm. Now, what else do we have to keep us safe in the cab, or what type of technology are we using? So kind of our current state, I'm going to go through that real quick. These are our control units in the cabs of the truck. This is our first line of defense while we're in that truck. This is what our driver uses to keep us safe, to keep our family safe. So these units that I'm showing you are still in use right now at my shop. So we have a Dickie John 2000, a Sierra system, Monroe MC 270, and a Dickie John control point. Like I said, these are still in use right now. This is our newest control unit that we have. It's a Force America 6100 Generation 4. So what this unit does, along with the ones that I just showed you, it gives you standalone digital readouts for salt. It monitors salt usage standalone, and it monitors salt usage confined to the truck. So what does this mean, standalone? It just means that if I want to gather that information of how much salt we used, how much liquid salt we used, we physically have to go to each truck, download that information, put it on a computer, and see. It's just not feasible for us to see what's really going on. Also, the safety mechanisms that this has, it usually has some sort of box height switch, which is usually via a mercury switch with the corrosion from the salt. And the normal wear and tear on a truck, usually that box alarm usually lasts about 2 or 3 years. So this actual Generation 4 is installed about 33% of our trucks. So we're kind of getting there in technology, but as you can see from the picture, it just has a generic view of a truck in the back with a center discharge. We don't really have any center discharge trucks in our district. Now, with the new technology, our future state could be, this is a Force America Generation 5 6100 unit. There is no cost difference in this. The only difference is the technology. So they're saying you can get this new Generation 5 for no additional cost, but it's going to cost you to use the technology, which, you know, we can definitely afford. So it's capable of all the Gen 4 features, plus it has a 10-inch LCD display, up to 3 camera feeds. So if you look here, we can choose between, this one actually has 2 camera feeds with it, but we can have a camera feed of the wing, we can have a camera feed of the bed of the truck, the front of the plow. So this doesn't just pertain to wintertime, this also could pertain to summertime, you know, if we're removing trees or hauling gravel to make sure our beds are clean. It also has a CAN bus CPU system, just a fancy word for basically Bluetooth technology. It's condensing the CPU in the truck so we don't have so many wires going to control it. And with this Gen 5 system, it has fully integrated AVL and GPS with it. So I know we're kind of working on our GPS and AVL right now, but with this system, with no additional cost just for the head unit, it already has that available. And of course, you pay a subscription for that later. So let's go back to our whiteout conditions. Now, kind of use your imagination a little bit. What does the whiteout condition look like at night? I mean, we can, you know, use our imagination a little bit, and so at night, I guess that'd be kind of a whiteout condition at night. Snowstorm, 0 visibility, can't see anything. Now, our snowplow drivers, this is basically what they're facing during a whiteout condition snowstorm, below. Now, what if it looked like this? I mean, that'd be great. I think, you know, even with a whiteout condition, we could probably plow through that if that's what our drivers are looking at. Now, kind of during the day, this is kind of what it would look like. Now, if we go back to our route, we showed you that it was fully closed with snow drifts. I mean, we can easily tackle that day or night with this technology. Well, how does this technology come about? Is this even possible? Sure it is, with high accuracy differential global GPS. So what is this? This provides a HUD system, which gives you a virtual view, an RTK system or an RTN network that provides real-time data. The system ability gives visual aids, audio aids, and lane assistance. It also comes equipped with an advanced radar system, which displays positions of other vehicles or any obstructions that would be oncoming to you. And it gives distance and closure rates of those vehicles. I'll go through each of these. So what is the heads-up display actually? We can kind of look at it as another display or an actual secondary sun visor to the driver. So it'd flip down, and it's basically an 8x12 screen. It's either made of poly or glass, and you can see through it without any distortion if we're not using it at the time. So here's another picture which I like. This shows kind of how it's a sun visor type aspect. Flips down, looking through the screen, and so like I said, this would just be flip down, flip up, however you'd like to. Now, how do we get this information from the computer to in front of our eyes? Well, with the surveying career I've had, we have an RTK network or an RTN network in Illinois. So Alaska is using this, Minnesota is using this, and California is using this also. So what they're using in Alaska, they're kind of the forerunners for this. And of course, it's pretty spread out there, and they don't have the RTN networks like we have here in Illinois. So they're running a specific RTK network up there. But here in Illinois, we run an RTN network because we already have the infrastructure for all of this. We already have the basis to have this to get this started. So we're going to go through the system abilities here. So when I say a visual aid, obviously we're looking with our eyes. So we can see right away that the visual aids, it gives us a defined edge of pavement line, center line, gives us signs that are in the area or any sort of guardrail or anything. Audible aid would be obvious, If you go to cross the center line, we're not only going to get a visual aid, so if we're in the right-hand lane and we're traveling, we'll say northbound, in the right-hand lane we start to cross the center line. With that, we get a visual aid. The center lane will turn red, saying caution, something's going on here. Also, we'll get an audible aid. We can have a beeping or a tone, however you have it programmed. And then we have what's called a lane assistant. So when you're sitting in that seat, if you're heading northbound, you start to cross the center line to the left-hand side, the left side of your seat would vibrate. So not only do we have the audios and visuals, we also have, some more assistance there, just, if we're in a whiteout condition. So here's another picture of the actual unit. And right now, it's kind of an interstate setup. The truck is sitting in a crossover, and you can see the left-hand side here. The lane's turned red, his edge of pavement line, because he is encroaching on that lane while he's sitting in there. So we can just kind of see how it lays everything out if we're in a whiteout condition. He knows right where the guardrail is. He knows right where the edge of pavement is. He knows that he's encroaching on the edge of pavement as he's going through that crossover, and he can see what's going on. So I'm proud to say that Top Gun is one of my favorite movies, and but in reality, for the most of our lives, we've seen movies with technology, and some of it's far-fetched, but in 1986, Top Gun came out. And of course, how do we keep Goose and Maverick safe? With radar technology. So in 1960s, they started putting electronic radars in fighter jets. And it's old technology. Anybody that's ever flown, to get you safe on the ground, they use radar technology. It's an old technology, and we've just been using it for years now. So what if that radar technology, we could use that in our snowplows to keep our Goose and Maverick safe, our maintainers safe? So here we're going to watch a little clip of Top Gun for the next 2 hours. So this is about a 15, 20-second clip, but notice when we're watching this, in this clip, green is usually good, red is usually bad. So green good, red is bad, green is go, red is uh-oh, there's problems. So notice when we're watching this too, not only the visuals with the green and red, notice the audios when it goes to a steady tone to kind of a more aggressive tone. So green is good. Tone changes.
Check our tail. Big go, Mavericks. You're out of there, kid.
Red is bad. We don't run.
The next department regrets to inform you that your sons are dead because they were stupid.
Or Goose and Maverick. So as we saw in that, we saw the tones, visual, and we heard the tones. We saw the green and red. What more can we ask for our safety? If we can't visually see it, there's a visual aid to help us. And if we happen to not see it, then there's an audio aid. We need this type of protection for us out there when we have zero visibility. So how is this radar capable? Well, with the HAD GPS, it has a radar system, an advanced radar system. It displays the position of other vehicles. It can display positions of bridges or any oncoming obstruction. And like I said before, it gives you a distance and closure rate of that obstruction. If you're approaching a parked vehicle on the side of the road that's broke down, it'll say 500 feet, 12 seconds, you're approaching this vehicle. So if you think about it, like I said, our maintainers are Goose and Maverick. We need to protect them so they can protect our families to get us where we're going. So we're going to watch just a little clip of this radar technology in action. So with that said, remember this isn't a clip that's made in Hollywood. This clip was actually made in a tandem truck on an 8x12 screen with a video camera. So the technology here is great, but the effects of it from the video camera from an 8x12 screen are a little grainy, but we kind of get the idea when we watch this. Now pay particular attention to, as we can see on the screen before I start to play it, the imposed edge of pavement lines and the imposed center lines. So if you look really close, you can see the actual edge of pavement lines right here. And this is the imposed line. And once we start rolling the film a little bit, you'll be able to see the actual center lines compared to the imposed center lines. So as we're driving here, you can see the imposed center line and the actual is a lot dimmer. But notice how he crosses the center line a little bit. The center line turns red once in a while. But as he approaches the red light, it's detecting the vehicles in front of him. White, green is good. But as it gets a little closer, it's going to turn red saying, hey, caution, there's an obstruction coming up. We need to take caution, and we need to take other steps to keep us safe here. So as he approaches that vehicle, turns red, gives us a fair warning that, hey, something's not right here. As you can see, the center line keeps turning red as he, maybe approaches a little bit out. And like I said, remember this is on a little 8x12 screen in front of your face. So like I said, this isn't something that's made now. So if we look back here, as we can see the imposed edge of pavement lines with the actual. We can see an imposed guardrail, which is all on the program. Everything would be done, with an RT-based system or an RTM network. But also just notice that the vehicles here, how many vehicles it's noticing that far in advance of, is giving you awareness that there is something, an obstruction coming up. And again, when it gets too close, it turns red, saying, caution, we need to take other steps, we need to slow down, we need to maybe pull off the road and do something else. So high accuracy differential GPS. It's available, it's out there, people are using it. So now is the time that Illinois becomes an innovator. Now is the time that Illinois moves forward with the technology that we have at our fingertips and uses it to its fullest extent. Now is the time. Now is the time we give our Maverick and Goose the tools to keep our maintainers, our families safe, to get them home. So next up is Dave Marine to talk about autonomous teaming.
Good morning, my name is Dave Marine, and I'm Operations Supervisor in Traffic in District 6. In operations at IDOT, we often discuss what we do in terms of pavement patching, snow plowing, street sweeping, but there's one element that is contained in everything we do, and that is proper traffic control and correct safe work zones. As traffic control technology has advanced, we as a department have embraced this. One improvement we now commonly use every day is truck or trailer mounted attenuators in most of our operations. While this advancement has allowed for safer work zones, issues still arise due to human error. Today I'm going to discuss TMAs and what autonomous TMA technology can do for us at the department. What is a TMA? Many people, when they see our trucks equipped with a truck or trailer mounted attenuator, they still see a snowplow instead of a critical life-saving piece of traffic control equipment. TMAs are designed to absorb and diffuse the energy in a collision to reduce collateral damage. They share similar purpose and testing to the other stationary attenuators used on the roadways, except they are mobile. TMAs are either tested in the same format as stationary attenuation devices, and they use currently the NCH RP350 for a couple of days, and next year we'll start using the higher MASH standard. TMAs at IDOT. TMAs at IDOT provide protection to our workers and motorists in short-term lane closures or moving operations. They allow for quick, short-term complete closure of roads in an emergency or an incident. TMAs provide an increased level of safety for our staff and the motoring public in a collision. TMAs provide an efficient way to close lanes when full traffic control is not required. TMAs are used in many operations, striping, patching in the department. So what issues do we have currently with TMAs at IDOT? While TMA saves lives, injuries still happen in collisions, both to our workers and the motoring public. For a TMA to work properly, positioning and spacing must be correct, providing maximum protection for workers and the public. Human element is always at play. In an impact, it's very hard for a driver not to want to steer away from the collision or to be able to properly apply the brakes correctly. Both greatly reduce the effectiveness of the TMA. So now we're going to talk about autonomous TMAs and some of their benefits over a traditional TMA. Guaranteed correct positioning to ensure maximum protection for all of the involved versus a traditional TMA with spacing. Removal of workers from the highest risk positions in the truck. And they also ensure proper application of brakes and correct steering in an accident. In studies conducted by the Colorado Department of Transportation, ATMA trucks greatly outperform typical TMA trucks driven by humans, and controlling constant and correct spacing and speed while in a moving operation. As you can see, on the left is the ATMA speed and gap spacing. It is much more constant than that of the TMA driven by the human. Since correct spacing is so important to an attenuator performing correctly, an ATMA technology helps reduce human error that can affect this. ATMA early adapters. Currently, the Colorado Department of Transportation is using and testing automated TMA technology in its striping operations. Currently, the technology is very useful for linear type operations, things that are straight, like striping or setting up traffic control. Colas, which is a British construction and traffic control company, is also doing the same thing in its operations overseas. Currently, Rhode Island and Florida are also actively looking at this technology use. So let's talk about the technology itself. The main leader of ATMA technology is a company called Kratos. It's a defense contractor in areas of drones and tactical convoy technology. Others like Google with their autonomous semi are working on their own systems that could be used in ATMA technology. But currently the Kratos system is the only one commercially available and is being tested in real-world situations. The Kratos system uses follow-the-leader technology. This is the same technology Kratos developed for use in its military tactical convoy systems. TMA trucks are driven to the work site by workers, and then the worker is removed from the high-risk follow TMA. A manned GPS-equipped lead truck is used to set the direction and pace of the convoy. The follow-the-leader technology requires no upgrades to the road system, sensors, etc. It can be added to an existing fleet, reducing cost on the front end. Equipment in the leader vehicle can be moved to other vehicles as needed. This is a benefit to a situation like IDOT, a department like this, where we could use an ATMA for striping in the summer and then move it over to use it for patching or street sweeping and other types of things. The system used Eeprom GPS markers from the leader vehicle sent to the ATMA through a wireless navigation module to set speed and direction of travel. The Eeprom system allows the system to operate in different locations and operations with only slight modification. The system's Eeprom GPS markers provide the follow ATMA with unique information in real time. This information is also registered for future reference in investigation or incidents on work zones. In Illinois, the legislature just increased the levels of porta claims, which may have some increased litigation for the department in situations with accidents. This information can be very helpful in defense of those things in the future. The Eeprom GPS markers can either be transmitted by Wi-Fi or radio waves, depending on the end user's preference. The follow ATMA is equipped with an electromechanical system that controls steering, braking, and speed. It uses the Eeprom GPS information from the lead vehicle, along with a suite of sensors to mimic the movements of the lead truck, while still having its own capabilities for things like accident or obstacle avoidance through radar. This is a live striping operation conducted by the Colorado Department of Transportation. Striping is a very dangerous operation that requires a driver of a TMA to drive at extremely low speeds, 13 miles an hour to be exact, on roads with traffic going 40 miles plus faster than they are. As you can see, the lead vehicle is transmitting Eeprom GPS markers to the follow vehicle that is then processing the information and mimicking the movements of the lead truck, all the while sensors such as radar, accident avoidance are ensuring safe operations independent of the lead truck. As you can see at the top right, the electromechanical system is controlling the steering and braking the speed of the ATMA. Cost of the ATMA. Currently, the cost of the system to install an existing TMA is around $100,000. Costs are expected to rapidly decrease as more units go online and the information needed to adjust to new operations are shared between users. The Colorado Department of Transportation is facilitating peer-to-peer sharing of this information and is actively looking for partner states. In the future, efficiency could be found with reallocation of manpower into other activities, since smaller crews could be required to do maintenance activities. Savings from workman's comp, etc., could also offset the cost quickly. Benefits of ATMA. Whenever employees need to work with a risk to complete a needed task, we are trained to use the hierarchy of controls to help deal with these risks. ATMA technology allows for many of these risks to be eliminated. ATMA technology ensures correct spacing of the TMA and provides for maximum protection of workers and the public. ATMA technology allows for the elimination of the need for a driver in a truck that is designed to be hit in a collision. ATMA technology ensures maximum benefit is gained in an impact by ensuring proper steering and braking in a collision. Enhancements in work zones safety have already made work zones a safer place than they were just a decade ago. But there's still work that needs to be done. With newer MASH compliance testing of TMA, speed radar equipped TMAs, a autonomous TMA technology, giving us more options going forward. Hopefully, IDOT will embrace these changes, be a leader in improving safety of our workers and the public. Next is Scott Wilton, who is going to explain the real reason why the department needs to embrace these new technologies.
Thank you, Dave.
Safety technology we can live with. The human element of investing in safety technology as well as reducing workers' compensation costs. As you can tell, my colleagues are very well versed in their area of operations. Me, not so much. To borrow a line from the Jack Ryan series, I'm just an analyst. The rest of our team spends much of their time out in the field, and they are very familiar with the life and death stakes involved in highway maintenance. This project has really opened my eyes to the dangers that our coworkers face every day just doing their jobs. After getting much data from our extremely helpful and very passionate safety and personnel and workers' compensation teams, we discovered that there was no reasonable way to tie specific workers' comp incidents with specific safety technology benefits. So we decided instead to take a more generalized approach and look at the human element of savings in relation to advancements in safety technology. In other words, we'd like to tug at your heartstrings instead of your purse strings. And we'll start with the story of Willie. Willie was a highway maintainer out of District 7. Vehicles driven by Willie have been struck 3 times in his 8-year career at IDOT. 2 of these incidents occurred while he was driving a TMA truck. Take a look at this picture. This is his 3rd hit. This accident occurred just this past January while an IDOT maintenance crew was Durapatching on Interstate 7. Notice the extensive damage to the truck, especially the cab, how it looks practically obliterated. This is the semi. This truck had to be going at very high speed to have this kind of damage. The hero of this story is the attenuator. Everyone walked away from this accident unharmed. The semi driver and the TMA and Willie, our TMA truck driver. This device did its job this time. But what ended up in the story with a happy ending could just as easily have had a tragic finish, like the O'Fallon crash of May 22nd, 2012. A 4-man subcontractor crew was working on an IDOT road striping project on I-64. Reports indicate that their TMA was connected to a truck on the shoulder of the highway. The men were on or near the TMA when a Honda Accord smashed into it and struck all 4 road workers. A witness said he saw the workers fly into the air on impact. 1 was seriously injured. Another required extensive surgery. A 3rd was in critical condition. Unfortunately, the 4th, a 38-year-old father of 3, died from his injuries. An autonomous TMA, eliminating the need for a TMA truck driver and others, could help prevent injuries and fatalities caused by accidents like this. I've watched a lot of crash videos from the backs of TMA trucks, and I got to tell you, they are terrifying. Here's just one of many. Highway maintainers' workers' compensation costs for the last 6 years. As you can tell, this is a very large annual expense. However, There's some notable improvement in the last 3 to 4 years. A lot of this progress is probably due to a stronger safety training program and a dedicated safety team. Now, safety training is critical as one method to reduce accidents, incidents, and injuries that can drive up workers' compensation costs. But investing in safety technology can also contribute to lowering IDOT's workers' compensation costs by reducing and or removing our highway maintainers' exposure to dangerous situations. I stumbled onto this Royal Truck video commercial for TMAs, and even though it's not yet the autonomous version, I thought it kind of captured the whole theme of investing in to save lives, which is it's worth it.
It's worth it.
That says it all right there. Safety technology we can live with, part 2. Along with trying to keep our coworkers as safe as possible, we have a responsibility to the welfare of our motoring public. Please allow us to share the story of one specific incident that occurred in District 2 during the Groundhog Day blizzard of 2011. During this blizzard, my teammate Josh's District 2 experienced up to 20 inches of snow and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. With the snow falling rapidly and the wind howling, snow drifts reached up to 6 feet, and visibility was reduced to 0. IDOT had full crews out trying to battle the storm. We had several trucks stuck and stranded due to the violent winds. Our drivers could not see past their windshields. Unfortunately, during the storm, several routes were shut down due to the heavy blowing snow. Our guys just couldn't see where the roads were. When they tried to clear a path, they ended up off the road stuck in a ditch. They were trying to plow and push snow practically blind. In Josh's County alone, we had 5 routes closed because either our trucks were stuck or because the visibility was 0. Then the situation took a definite turn for the worse. IDOT received a call from the local sheriff's department stating that a motorist was stranded in his car on Illinois Route 251. This was one route that drifts very badly in minor storms, let alone a blizzard. Our snowplow teams made every effort to get to this man, but they were dealing with 6-foot drifts and 0 visibility. Once our drivers arrived at the route, which was still miles away from the motorists, they couldn't tell where the pavement was. They tried to stay in between the power poles, but the power poles are typically 250 feet apart. And with the visibility at 0, this proved impossible. Unfortunately, they could not make any headway. They had the heart, they had the courage, they did not have the equipment. The next day, when there was some visibility, our drivers used their snowblower to cut the road open to get to the motorists. Sadly, tragically, the man had eventually perished in his car while being stranded in the blizzard. With hindsight being 20/20, there's an important lesson and a critical takeaway from this tragic incident. If IDOT would have had one piece of equipment that had the high accuracy differential GPS, this motorist might have lived to see his family. In closing, would we, could we, should we? If we had the ability to prevent fatalities and injuries in these stories and others, would we? Of course we would. If we had the required funds, could we obtain the equipment that would prevent these incidents? Of course we could. If the technology was available that might help prevent these incidents, should we invest in it? Of course, we should, because it's worth it. And now I'd like to invite the rest of my teammates forward. We'll try to answer any questions you might have.
I know, okay, it's just on the technology you talked about, where they can see the center lines and the end lines, is there any additional things we need to do to our paint or to our application of those to make it better to be picked up on that system, or?
So the question was, do we need to do anything additional to be able to pick up our center lines and edge of pavement lines with what we have out there, any type of special paint? No, what it would be come down to is us doing mobile LiDAR through the areas. And I think later tomorrow, there's going to be a presentation, I believe, a little bit about some of the mobile LiDAR. So, and right now, we do have a lot of topography through most of our routes. So just correlating all that stuff, we would already have actual center lines drawn, edge of pavement lines drawn, edge of shoulders drawn, and all the guardrails located. So we wouldn't have to do anything special to the road for this type of technology.
First of all, thank you for the excellent and informative presentation. My question is for Dave regarding the autonomous TMA truck. That is a technology that Bureau of Operations has been looking into. Our primary hurdle involves the state law, which I believe was mentioned earlier, that requires an operator be in the driver's seat of the vehicle. And that essentially kind of defeats the purpose of having the autonomous TMA truck and getting that maintainer out of that vehicle. In your research, do you know what other states have done to allow usage of that technology? Have they actually changed their laws? And do you have any recommendations on how the department should move forward with allowing this technology on our roadways?
So the question is what have other states done to allow for the autonomous TMA technology? Well, first of all, Colorado has very liberal autonomous vehicle laws. Basically, their law states that if the manufacturer declares it's safe for the roadways. So really, until we can get the laws changed in Illinois, it's going to be hard to implement. But if we want to be a leader in autonomous vehicles, because that's really what Colorado's trying to do. Colorado's trying to make their autonomous vehicle laws fairly liberal so that it will generate jobs and business in the industry, because the industry will move in. So hopefully we could work with the legislature in that from a business growth aspect, why Illinois needs to change those laws to allow for more liberal autonomous vehicle usage, which would then allow us to use the ATMA technology.
My question's for Dave and kind of follow up to Kyle's. At our national meeting this year, Missouri DOT presented on their autonomous TMA development project, and they are changing their laws because theirs are very similar to Illinois on that. They're working with the vendor, and they have set forth very, very, very conservative requirements that have to be met before they'll even consider doing it. I just wondered if you had reached out to Missouri DOT at all on where they are with their process.
I have
It seems
not.
like pretty similar.
You're asking if I reached out to Missouri DOT on it. I have not. Colorado is really the only one that is actively using it in real-world situations. A lot of states are looking at it. Missouri, Florida, Rhode Island. But Colorado was really the one that has brought it to usage on the roadways. So I did not reach out to Missouri. Yes.
My question is for Joshua. With the system that you were identifying in your presentation, have you researched any of the compatibility with that would be with what we are currently implementing into our vehicles, or would we need a completely different system to reach that goal?
The question was, is it compatible with what we're running now? Any district, pretty much. Yes, it is compatible because it's not really running through the control unit itself. It's a whole separate unit. So we'd still have our main control unit in there. We'd still have all of our regular options. This would be a proprietary unit that just fold down, has nothing to do with any of our control units. So all the radar system would be a separate unit, all housed together in that one screen. Once that screen is popped back up, it has nothing to do with our control unit. So it is a separate system, would work in any sort of truck. Even a truck without a control unit in it, you can put it in. They're utilizing it at airports and through passes up in Alaska right now, in snow blowers and snow plows and graders. So it can virtually go in any type of construction.
Have you researched the cost on that?
So the question is, have I researched the cost? Yes, Alaska is kind of the forerunner in using it right now. So being Alaska is so far spread out, you know, there's not a lot of towns close to each other. It's a little more expensive up there. So I guess to get to the gist of it, for Alaska to house 5 units, a couple snow blowers, a grader, and a couple trucks, but they also had to set up an RTK system out there. So in the mountains, they actually put up GPS units with huge generators to keep these going year round. So their cost for 5 units and the whole RTK network, which we already have that infrastructure for us, it was just over $2 million for 5 units. But we already have that infrastructure. We have that, it costs us about $1,700 a year to get a Leica subscription or a Kara subscription to their RTM network. So we already have that infrastructure. So with talking to the ADOT, probably in the works of under $100,000 per truck to get them set up with advanced radar and the RTM network system, approximately. But there is no big vendor, kind of like the ATMAs. There's no vendor that's specifically putting these things out, because as you get further south, really, there's not a whole lot of need for it. So.
I have a question for Susan. So on the GPS APL, how have our OSs taken to the new technology in our plow drivers?
So the question is, how have our OSs or the drivers taken to the new GPS ABL system? They're beginning to get implement. They're beginning to like it. Starting off, a lot of the drivers were concerned about the cameras, which our cameras are disabled at this time. But since it's just the OSs and the lead workers that have access to be able to see everything in the system as far as what the system is able to do, they're beginning to ask more questions and want to do a lot more things to be able to monitor their yards. So it's beneficial and it's been a great asset to the department.
Sarah?
My question's for Kim. You talked about the learning curve and how it's exponential at this point. What do you feel like IDOT needs to implement first to stay in that curve and not be so far behind?
She's asking what I think, talking about the knowledge curve, what do I think that technology do I think IDOT should implement first, so that we can be a forerunner and not be so far behind so many other states? Actually, I think we should continue the program that we're utilizing now and expand on the GPS and ABL technology. Whether we continue to do that with the tablets that we're installing now, or the technology that Josh talked about where that is already going to be in our control systems. But I think that has a lot of potential. I think it's a good start. Personally, I really like the technology that Josh talked about. I think that's probably more applicable in the northern part of the district, obviously, than the south.
More question?